everybody, welcome to my first episode of How to Analyze an Episode, and I'm going to be talking about Galaxy Quest, and my purpose of this is to help you guys understand things about tropes, genre expectations, and what we're looking for in science fiction and fantasy. This is a really fantastic movie. Probably you guys have already seen it, but if not, definitely got to do that. So as you know, I'm running my Kickstarter and you guys have been supporting it, which is why I'm making this video for you. Thank you so much. And just keep up your support. It really means a lot to me. And I'm going to be offering some really cool things, including doing one of these videos a week. This one is for everybody, but after this week, I'll be doing them for anybody who pledges at the $60 level and above. You can find me at my website or through Kickstarter or Facebook. I'm around. If you want to talk to me, track me down. I always like to visit with you guys. Okay, so now we're going to talk about Galaxy Quest, genre expectations, and tropes. And Galaxy Quest is a great example of genre expectations because it actually has them folded into the storyline. And what do I mean by that? It's based on, as we know, kind of a spoof or spin-off of the like Star Trek series that are in so many formats. And what is required is that you understand what happens in Star Trek episodes and what those kind of story arcs are like. And audiences understand that instinctively after watching all the movies and all the series. It's not like they're counting different things out, but there's things that they're instinctively looking for, and we're going to talk about what those are. And I'm also going to talk about how genre expectations and tropes work together in this movie. Okay, so like I said, what are some expectations and examples? And I'm going to talk about three things that I think are really popular in science fiction and fantasy movies, and in storylines. And I'm grouping them both together for the purpose of this because they're really broad, but yet they're really important. So the first thing is we have to have characters facing life or death goals. And what do I mean by that? This is not a retelling of Bridgerton. People aren't going to be sitting around having tea. We're going to be seeing a lot of action to get to those goals. And the action is our story conflict. We're not, like I said, there's not going to be, there'll be talking, but there's really going to be things playing out in front of us and showing us the story. It's very much a show, don't tell format. So that's one really important genre expectation that we have. The second is the characters are on an emotional journey. And this is really important because we can't just have action, action, action without any character development. There's plenty of stories and movies out there like that, but they don't tend to stick around a lot. Galaxy Quest was made in 1999 and it's still good. You can watch it today and you're just like, still a good movie. It's evergreen in that way. And part of the reason why it's evergreen is because the characters are really well developed and they're, like I said, on this emotional journey, and it all ties back into the story. So that's the second genre expectation. And the third is the world building details. And all stories have world building, but sci-fi and fantasy, that's really why our audiences come to it. They want to be taken out of their world and into a different realm. And this movie does a great job of doing that by grounding us in the real world and other realms. So we're going to talk more about that, but it really needs to be very detailed and really connect the other parts. So you're really going to get like a triangle of action, characters, and world building that are all like working together. So the really great thing of why I was so excited to talk about this movie with you, like I said before, is the movie is playing with genre expectations. And one way that we know about that right away is they show a fan convention. And the fans know more about the movies than the actors who were in that series, and they've put in so much time and effort into thinking, well, why did you do this and not that, and talk about all the specifics. And they really know cold the whole entire genre and what they want to see. And so there's some conflict with that, with Tim Allen, the Jason character, being the captain, of like not really taking it seriously, and he's kind of slipping with the fans is a comment that's made, where he used to be more genuine about it, but now he's just gotten kind of disillusioned and has some as we'll see, other personal problems that are not making him really take those genre expectations seriously. But the other cool thing about genre expectations in this movie is they literally save the day because at the end, they end up calling on some super fans who have this whole recreation of their ship that they can use. So I just think when you're watching this movie, realize, this is different than any of the Star Trek movies that have been made or remade, because it's asking the viewer to know what's happened in those movies, and then twist or pivot them slightly to create some really fun surprises and to kind of take the story to a deeper level. So one example, kind of to start out, I'm going to talk about the captain character, Jason Tim Allen, and he plays, basically, this guy has tons of tropes with his character, right? He's an alcohol, he's an alcoholic, he's showing up late to things, he's drunk, he's got his sunglasses, and he's not dressed. But he's definitely still the captain, so everybody wants to see him at these various events that they're all still doing years after their series ended. He's a loner because of his bad behavior and basically being a jerk. The rest of his cast isn't as close to him as they were. They're all actors who are playing service members on a ship, and this hidden identity, which is central to this story, of they think they're just doing a job as being filmed for different events, but actually there's another step level of that. There is a whole other world, extraterrestrial world out there, and so it's kind of a story within a story, which does a great job. But it reflects his character of where he was playing a captain. He needs to actually step into that hero role and have his arc where he becomes that hero in the end, much to his initial reluctance. So that's his redemption. So that's the kind of emotional part that we were talking about this. If the Tim Allen character was still a jerk at the end, I don't think this movie would be nearly as popular, 24 years later, because we really needed his emotional journey to help us with this movie. Okay, as fans who watch the Star Trek space genres know that there's always the helper characters, like the best friend and the other technical characters in here, and I put this in here just because I love both these actors, and it was just a great shot of how they're really great characters who have their own tropes, and they each do have a story arc of development, but basically they're there to support the role of the captain, and they know that both outside their working life as actors. Like, they show up to the event and everybody's like, oh great, but where's the captain? And then in the movie they also realize that as they're there to help him fight the bad guys and save the Thermians. So it's just a really, you can see that there's already that they've taken those tropes and are playing with them. Okay, another fun thing that I liked right away was the movie really sets out this idea of the episodic action adventures. So we see them have this early on where they're just they can't believe that they're actually in space and they've been transported and there's all this stuff going on. We are just hitting tropes left and right: fish out of water, road trip, ticking time bomb, time travel, and forced proximity. And then of course there's violence with this. There's mistaken identity. There's a whole bunch of other stuff. But there's also they're really in peril, and they have to work together, and they have to use their ingenuity to get to escape. And this is something that all fans know is basically a bedrock of every episode, is how are they going to get out of this tough situation by, the cleverness of the captain and the ingenuity, but they set us up right away with knowing, okay, we're going to get to see some of those really fun scenes that we like, where they're they're the fish out of water in another planet, and how are they going to survive under these hostile conditions. Going with that, I loved this character of Sam Rockwell's Guy, and they just did a great job of, remember the whole scene where he's going down to the planet and the transit is really rough, and he says, I'm the second, I'm Guy. I don't even have a last name. I'm not going to survive. And he begins freaking out. I know how, and he's like, I know how this story goes. And so even, the characters are self-reflecting about the genre expectations. So I just think it's really fun. And if you're trying to learn of like, well, what are genre expectations, this is a really kind of great way to get eased into it as they play with what the actors slash ship members are learning about their journey. And plus, I just love Sam Rockwell. Thermians. Our Thermians are basically the equivalent of the MacGuffin. They're the things that they're trying to help slash save. Usually a MacGuffin is a lost object. In this case, they're kind of like children. They need, they're looking forward to the Tim Allen and his crew basically stepping up and saving them from the antagonist. And they have really, their storyline is very much fallen with the mistaken identity tropes, where they have been watching the show from Earth and have taken it as a historical document as opposed to a fictional show. So it's really great because they're also kind of a stand-in for the fans because they're so loyal, they're so rabid, they think that Tim Allen, can't do any wrong, and it really is a tribute to the strength of how much fans can fall hard for a story and be just sure that it's absolutely 100% reality. I thought this was just kind of fun because, as we know from all those Star Trek episodes, there's always some element of unrequited love or forbidden love, and they even do a cute little scene to that because it's certainly unusual love would what we would say, and often it was between the captain and some other comely female with green skin from another planet. But this was just a really fun kind of nod to that expectation that that viewers have about there's going to be some romantic element in here, and but it doesn't necessarily have to be a full-blown story arc. The antagonist. I just love this guy. He was just such a great antagonist with really no redeeming qualities, which is just fun to see sometimes. And what I liked about him was he clearly was able to see the Jason Tim Allen character and was saying, I know what you are. You're a fraud. You're not the real thing. You're not heroic. These people, the Thermians, don't get it. They don't understand. And so you have to tell them what you're doing as he's getting ready to cause more destruction. And so I thought he was just a really great character. The best antagonists are the ones who are stronger than the heroes. They have all the guns. They have all the knowledge. It looks like there's no way that they can be defeated. It's not like, okay, we things are looking iffy, but we know it'll come out. Like, it really has to look like there's nothing left, that the hero is just completely wiped out. He's got nothing left, but in order to defeat the antagonist, he has to dig down to that part of him that he doesn't want to and pull up those extra reserves, really lay himself on the line to save the day. And this antagonist does a great job of showing that by his physicality and his mercilessness. And plus, I also like that he looks to me like he's from the Farscape. He's like they probably had that costume around from Farscape. Okay. Lastly, I just wanted to throw in here for you guys that the Galaxy Quest movie is now free on Prime. I mean, you pay for Prime, but at least if you pay for Prime, you can watch Galaxy Quest. And I somehow missed the Never Surrender documentary that came out in 2019, and that is also on Prime now. So I'm definitely going to check that out, and I encourage you guys to check it out also, because I'm pretty sure that they're going to be talking about genre expectations in there and tropes and kind of how those things work together. And it would be I think it'll be really fun. Anyway, I'm looking forward to it. But let me know if you do. And thanks for checking out my video. I really have a lot of fun making these, and it's just a fun time for me, and I hope it's helpful for you guys as you're trying to find your way of how tropes and genre expectations work with fantasy and how you can kind of tie your characters tighter into the storyline. So reach out to me with any questions that you have. Thanks so much, and I will talk to you soon.